Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Kim, and this is Introducing Zara Larsson Part 2. Now, in the first part, we learned a little bit about where Zara came from. She's Swedish, as we found out, and how she got her start. Now, Zara was on a talent show, which you might recognize. A lot of people get famous this way. For example, The Voice is a really popular talent show that started in America and spread to other countries. There's The Voice UK and The Voice China, just to name a few. There's also talent shows like American Idol that produce singers, and other talent shows like America's Got Talent, where you can go and show off any talent that you have. And these are well known for producing stars. One Direction, one of the most famous boy bands of the 2010s, actually came from a talent show like the one Zara Larsson was part of. So in this part, we're going to find out what Zara has been up to since winning her talent show and since being on Swedish reality TV, and we'll find out exactly why we are introducing her in our next part.
In 2013, Zara Larsson released Introducing, her first EP of original songs to great commercial success in Sweden. Uncover, the EP's biggest hit, sold over 240,000 units and reached #1 on the Swedish charts. After releasing Introducing, she was quickly signed to a US record label. From there, her music became popular globally. Larsson is taking full advantage of the attention she is getting, especially when it comes to using her fame as a platform for sharing her views on social issues.
All right, let's get into our reading. As we see, in 2013, Zara Larsson released Introducing, her first EP of original songs, to great commercial success in Sweden. So the name of her EP was Introducing. This is something that's often used when you are new to a scene. If you watch the credits of some films, and this is the first time an actor has been featured, you will often see them list their name and Introducing. So if it's my first time starring in a movie, you'll see the credits that say Introducing Kim. And so that's a really good name for her EP. Now, what is an EP, you might be asking? An EP is just a very short album that shows a person's talent, that introduces them to the music industry. So sometimes EPs might have only 4 songs on them. They're not very long, and they're not meant to be very long. It's more like a demo, a demonstration of what you can do and what your musical style is. So Zara's was called Introducing, which is a good name for an EP. Now, she had original songs on there, which is good. That means she writes and sings her own songs. Original is an adjective that means it's something you created that has never been created before. If something is original, it came from your mind. You made it. You are the first and only person to have this thing. It can also mean the first of something. So if you have the original pair of Nike shoes from 1980 that have Michael Jordan on them, then these are originals. They were sold 40 years ago, and maybe you can buy copies today that look similar, but they're not the original ones from back then. For example, Marina makes original paintings and sells them in her online store. So Marina is an artist. She makes her own original paintings that came from her mind and her talent, and she sells them in her online store. A lot of people do this. They make original crafts, original art, original music, and they try to sell it to other people online. And these kinds of things are not commercial, which is our next word here. Commercial is an adjective that means something is made by a company for a company or is popular in the general public. So if something is very commercial, it's not indie, which is the opposite. It was made by a company. In our example, we see the movie was a commercial success, but not many people consider it a good film. If a movie is very commercial, that means it was made by a big studio. It's not a little independent movie made by a director no one knows and starring actors you haven't heard of. No, a commercial film is a really big movie made by a big studio like Marvel or Disney, and it has famous actors like Robert Downey Jr. or people like that. Scarlett Johansson is a commercial actress. She's in a lot of very big and very famous movies. We have another version of commercial, which is our word for the advertisements that you see on television. So in America, when you have a break between the shows, they play advertisements, and those are called commercials. So that's slightly different from calling something commercial, which is an adjective. But commercials, the noun, means something that's on TV to advertise something. So back to our reading. Uncover, the EP's biggest hit, sold over 240,000 units and reached #1 on the Swedish charts. After releasing Introducing, she was quickly signed to a US record label. From there, her music became popular globally. Wow, so actually, that EP was a big success for Zara Larsson. She had Uncover, which is the biggest hit. This means it's the most popular song. If something is a really big hit, that is super popular thing. So a movie can be a big hit. A lot of people went to see it. And the single was a big hit. A lot of people listened to it and they loved it. And in fact, we read it sold over 240,000 units. That means 240,000 versions were sold. That's a lot. It also reached #1. So from there, she became signed to a US record label, which is a dream for a lot of artists. There's a saying that if you can make it in the US industry, whether it be music or movies, anything entertainment, if you can make it in America, then you can become popular globally. Here's our first word here. Globally is an adverb, and it just means all around the world. It's used to describe things that are popular or well known by all the world and all the world's people. For example, more than 7,000 types of apples are grown globally. So this just means all around the world we have more than 7,000 types of apples. And I did not know that. That's a lot of apples. All right. Well, our reading continues. Larsson is taking full advantage of the attention she is getting, especially when it comes to using her fame as a platform for sharing her views on social issues. So when you become famous, especially when you become famous quickly, you get a lot of attention from other people. And maybe you have social media such as Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and a lot of people follow you and they want to hear your opinion. So she's going to be using that platform, her social media, to share her views on social issues. Well, thanks for joining me, and after the break, we'll find out even more about Zara.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们今天要继续介绍 Zara Larsson 这位瑞典流行小天后。那么 Zara 在2013年发行第一张原创歌曲的迷你专辑，在瑞典获得极大商业成功。接着，她很快就跟一间美国唱片公司签约了，而她的音乐从此在全球各地流行起来。我们来看单字 original。original 可以形容是原创的、原先的。commercial 当名词，它可以指电视或是广播里面的商业广告。那在文中呢，它是当形容词来形容商业的。好，刚刚 Kim 老师则提到 indie 这个字 ，indie， 它就是来自 independent 这个字，表示独立制作的，常常用来描述音乐啊、电影等等是独立制作的哦。下一个单字 globally 就表示全球的，在全球各地的。好，那么课文就有写到说 ，Zara Larsson 正充分利用她所获得的关注，尤其是说到利用名气作为平台来分享她对社会议题的看法。那这边3个重点，我们进入文法时间。 好，来看第一个重点是 take advantage of something 是表达利用某事物。advantage 前面可以加上 full 来强调是充分的利用、完全的利用。例如 We took advantage of the nice weather and went for a walk. 我们趁着好天气去散散步，充分利用这样的好天气哦。那么特别注意，如果你这时候用人当受词，它就带有负面语义了，因为你去利用人嘛。所以 take advantage of somebody 就是表达故意利用某人的弱点啊，或是占某人便宜的意思哦。第二个重点是 get somebody's attention 或者是 get the attention 就是表达吸引到什么的注意。例如I yelled and waved my hands to get his attention. 我大叫挥手吸引他的注意，低价啦！好，再来看第三个重点是 when it comes to 加上名词或动名词，是指说到什么、提及什么，可以用来带出跟主题相关的资讯，像是It's important to know your limits when it comes to swimming. 说到游泳啊，知道自己的极限在哪是很重要的哦。接回到课文中。
Larsson speaks regularly on topics from politics to gender equality. On social media, she has been openly critical of how women are treated in society, particularly in the music industry. In addition, Larsson recently rejected a big commercial contract because of a conflict with her views on human rights. Larsson has come a long way from her days as a child star. She wants to be more than a singer and is using her growing fame to call for social change. As her platform continues growing, Zara Larsson is making her voice heard in more ways than one.
All right, back from our break, and let's find out exactly how Zara Larsson uses her platform on social media as a famous person. We read here, Larsson speaks regularly on topics from politics to gender equality. So this is speaking from her platform, which is social media. It's the best way to get out any information these days, and everyone has it. We're talking about things like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all this social media. So she talks about things like politics and gender equality. So politics are the whole bunch of things about how a country is run. Political parties, presidents, prime ministers, representatives, all this stuff is all about politics. And in politics, these people are elected to make laws and run countries. And sometimes people have very serious opinions about politics, and they like to talk about them. As we can see in our example, my dad and uncle often argue about politics. Yeah, sometimes people have really strong opinions when it comes to politics. And so you might argue about it like the dad and uncle in this example. Well, Zara is using her platform to talk about not only politics, but also gender equality. And this is a kind of difficult phrase. It just means male and female are equal. So gender equality pushes the idea that men and women and people of all genders are all equal. As we continue on social media, she has been openly critical of how women are treated in society, particularly in the music industry. In addition, Larsson recently rejected a big commercial contract because of a conflict with her views on human rights. So Zara is someone who likes to speak out about her political opinions, and human rights, gender equality, feminism, these are all issues in human rights. So she's using her platform as a famous person to talk about these issues, which is important for society. And she recently said no to something, a big commercial contract, in fact, because of a conflict with her views. So a conflict can be thought of like an argument, a disagreement. You can have a conflict between people. Maybe you disagree on something with your friend. That might be a small conflict. Conflict can go all the way up to small disagreements to wars between countries. So sometimes when you hear about a war happening between two countries, that may also be called a conflict. It can be a big disagreement or a small one. For example, there is a conflict between what Luke wants to do and his parents' plan for him. So yeah, you might have some conflicts with your parents when you're growing up. You might have conflicts between friends. You might have conflicts at the workplace. It's just any kind of disagreement. So as we continue on in our reading, Larsson has come a long way from her days as a child star. She wants to be more than a singer and is using her growing fame to call for social change. As her platform continues growing, Zara Larsson is making her voice heard in more ways than one. Good, so Zara is not only a singer but also an activist, and that's what a lot of people are doing these days with their ability to reach so many different people through social media. So now we come to our what do you think question. As we read, do you think that artists should speak out on social issues? Why or why not? Okay, so if you do, you can say, I think that artists should speak out on society's problems because they're famous. They have a big platform and a lot of people can listen to them, so they can get people's attention for the cause that they want, like Zara gets attention for gender equality. If you don't agree, you can say, I don't think that artists should speak out on social issues because of what reason? Maybe because artists should stick to what they know, which is making art, and they shouldn't speak out, if that's your opinion. Well, thanks for joining me, and tell me what you think. And hopefully you've learned something today about not only Zara, but also social activism. So we'll see you next time.
Zara Larsson 经常谈论性别平等啊、政治等等的主题。那她最近拒绝了一份很大的商业合约，原因是跟她的人权观点相左。好，那么单字 politics 这个字就可以表达政治、政治主张，或是指政治学这门科目。那么 conflict 它当名词表示冲突、争执或是分歧。家庭里面啊，或是工作场所里面，难免会出现意见分歧。Cam 老师用到 disagreement。Disagree 是不同意，后面加上 ment 变成这个名词，就有意见分歧啊、不同不一致的意思。老师还有用到 workplace， 把 work 跟 place 合在一起，变成工作场所的意思。另外，文中的 gender equality 表示性别平等。那补充一下 Kim 老师说的 feminism 就是女权主义、女权运动，把字尾改成 ist 变成女性主义者 feminist。好，再来，它也可以指这个女权运动者。还有提到 activism， 它是指行动主义、激进主义。那么把字尾改成 ist 变成 activist， 就是行动主义者、社运分子。课文最后提到，随着她的平台不断增加 ，Zara Larsson 正在用更多方式让她的声音被听到。这边有一个重点，我们进入文法时间。我们来看这个重点 ，make 当实义动词的时候，表示迫使、要求。常见的句型就是 make 加受词加原形动词。这个受词啊，通常是人，然后受词补语我们用原形动词去表达说逼某人、要求某人做某事。例如 ，Tim's mom made him finish his homework before dinner。Tim 的妈妈要求他在吃晚餐之前写完作业。好，那么另外 make 加受词加过去分词 pp 可以表达让某事物被怎么样。那这时候受词是事物，受词补语我们用过去分词 pp。像人们要鼓吹大家出来投票的时候，可能会说 Now is the time to make our voices heard。现在正是让我们声音被听见的时候，出门投票，表达自己的声音吧。好啦，那么以上是今天的讲解，同学们别走开，马上回来哦。
In 2013, Zara Larsson released Introducing, her first EP of original songs to great commercial success in Sweden. Uncover, the EP's biggest hit, sold over 240,000 units and reached #1 on the Swedish charts. After releasing Introducing, she was quickly signed to a US record label. From there, her music became popular globally. Larsson is taking full advantage of the attention she is getting, especially when it comes to using her fame as a platform for sharing her views on social issues. Larsson speaks regularly on topics from politics to gender equality. On social media, she has been openly critical of how women are treated in society, particularly in the music industry. In addition, Larsson recently rejected a big commercial contract because of a conflict with her views on human rights. Larsson has come a long way from her days as a child star. She wants to be more than a singer and is using her growing fame to call for social change. As her platform continues growing, Zara Larsson is making her voice heard in more ways than one.
Hi everyone, I'm Steven.
And I'm Jen.
We're going to play a game called Guess the Bear, where each of us has 3 cards with either a word or a phrase. And with each of these words or phrases, we have 2 sentences each. I'm going to read the sentence, but instead of saying that word or phrase, I'm going to say bear. You only have 1 minute to guess all 3.
All right.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'll read mine first.
Okay.
Okay, go. All right, this is an adverb, first sentence. McDonald's has tons of locations. Bear. Number 2. I know a saying. Think bear, act locally.
Think everywhere.
Adverb. Think
Think
bear,
clearly.
act locally.
Pass.
Pass. Okay, this is an adjective. 1 word. First one. My style of dress is very bare and unique. Second. The plane could not land at its bare destination.
Final.
Next one.
Next one.
This is a noun. Okay, 1 word. I want to resolve the bear between me and my parents. Number 2. We wish to avoid bear between our countries.
Conflict.
Good. Yes. McDonald's has tons of locations. Bear.
Everywhere.
Okay. You said everywhere twice.
I know. That's the only thing.
All right, it's globally, okay? McDonald's has tons of locations
close.
globally, and I know a saying, think globally, act locally. And then the other one, the adjective was, my style of dress is very original and unique, and the plane could not land at its original destination.
Oh,
All right.
okay. All right, your turn.
All right,
Got the timer?
Let's see if I do better. Okay.
Yes. Ready? Okay, first word, adjective. Office buildings are considered bare properties. He writes bare jingles for a living.
Catchy.
He writes bare jingles for a living. Office buildings are considered
Commercial.
bare. Yes.
Oh my God, okay.
All right, 1 word, noun.
Okay.
Most people don't like to discuss bears, especially during the election.
Okay.
Bears can be a dirty business.
Politics.
That was too easy.
Okay.
All right, phrase, 4 word. Bear, bear, bears, bear, pop culture. He is an expert. Bear, bear, bears, bear, sports. I don't know anything.
What?
Bear, bear, bears, bear, pop culture. He is an expert. Oh.
No idea.
Okay. When it comes to pop culture, he is an expert. When it comes to sports, I don't know anything.
Okay, it makes sense.
Wow.
I just, whenever there's like more than 3 words, my mind just stops.
Yeah.
But good job. That was fun.
See you next time.